ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim wa bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Laqad yassarna al-Qur'an lidhikr fahal min muddakir. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu everyone, and welcome to our 29th session of Arabic grammar, where we have completed the study of verbs, all the families, mujarrad and mazid fihi. Mashallah, a great milestone. Now many people are sending me emails who are just joining and they're asking where they can find the notes. The notes are always there in the description box. So if you go, you have to look for the playlist. It's called Arabic Grammar. Once you look up the playlist, you will find all the classes right from day one. If you're joining just now, it's impossible for you if you don't have any base. If you have not done Arabic grammar ever, then it's very difficult for you to understand what's going on. So if you are interested in starting this course, please go back to day one of the course and all the notes are there. People who have emailed me, inshallah, I'll be sending you the notes just in case you're not able to. I know sometimes when you open the notes on Google Doc, the fonts are all over the place and I don't know what the solution to that is. But whoever has emailed, I'll go ahead and I will put everything together for you and send it your way anyways. But just in case there are some people who are wondering where the notes are, you will find them in the description box. All right. So like for today, it's lesson 29. So that means you have 28 lessons. If you are a beginner, you have 28 lessons to catch up and come to where we are today. And today is a big day. Subhanallah. I mean, I cannot really believe we finished all the verbs. It's the mujarrad family verbs and the mazid fihi family verbs. With the 3 root letters, alhamdulillah, everything is done. And today what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the particles that come with verbs. Many of you have been asking about the particles. So we're going to introduce the particles that come with verbs, the most common ones. All right. It's not as many like we did in the case of nouns, right? So there are 2 sets of particles that affect the verb. So inshallah, we're going to take a look at that. Let's go to our notes and I'm going to go back to the topic of nouns and bring you to verbs, inshallah. Not the whole review. I just want to explain to you the default state of a noun first, in order to get the point across that verbs also have a default state, and when they're affected by a particle, that default state is changed, it's transformed, like we saw in the case of nouns. So if you see the nouns that I have put for you up here on the screen, al-kitabu. So we learned that the rafa state, the dhamma ending, is the default state of a noun, right? And then if we have a particle that comes along like min or bi or li or hatta, all the harf jar particles or the nasab particles, everything that we have learned, right? Inna, lakinna, all of that. If that comes, then it forces a change on the noun. That is, the dhamma, okay, is replaced because it's min. This is a jar causing particle. So this will become al-kitabi, okay? Here in this case, if I have inna, all right, when this acts upon al-baytu, then this will become bayta, because what? This is a particle of nasab, right? This is inna is a particle of nasab, min is a particle of jar. So similarly, in verbs too, we have particles that affect its look. This, what you see, is the default look of verbs. All right, darasa, daraba, nasara, right? So these are the default look of the verb. In mudari, you see yadurusu, yaduribu, or yansuru, the default look. Anytime you see the look is different, that means it has been affected, like we understood in the case of nouns, it has been affected by a particle. But are all verbs affected by particles? No. Like we saw in the case of nouns, you have hada, ulaika, those relative pronouns, ism mawsul, right? Or ism ishara. They're not affected by the particles, right? Because they maintain their look. They're stubborn. Similarly, in the case of verbs, the Madi remains unaffected. It does not change its look whatsoever at any given point in time. All right, so these particles, right, these particles that we're going to learn, they only come with the mudari verb. They only affect the mudari verb. All right, they don't come with the madi verb. And there are certain particles that come, like the particle of negation and all of that, they come with madi, but the look remains unchanged, unaffected. Okay, so that's why we really don't have to go into that, because you simply memorize the meaning of the particles. Like for example, lamma, it's when, idha, when. So you know, ma is for negation, right? When it comes with mudari, then you just translate it in the negative, right? So we really don't need to do any exercise or any explaining regarding the application of particles to madi. But when it comes to the mudari, then there is a change. All right, so first and foremost, mudari verbs are affected by two sets of particles. Okay, so let's just go here to the beginning of my document here. Okay, so they're affected by two sets of particles, and I have put both sets here because it's very easy. It's like a no-brainer. Okay, there is the set of particles that cause a noun to be in the state of jazm, all right, and they're called the jussive particles in English. And then there is the set of particles that cause the verb to be in the state of nasab, and they're called accusative particles in English. So verb in the state of jazm, right, they're called jussive particles. Verb in the state of nasab, they're called accusative particles. And there are 5 to 6 in each group. They affect pretty much the same with slight modifications. So that's why the difference is so slight that, you know, I put it, that's the reason why I put both of them together, because it's like it's like you'll feel like, okay, we climbed the mountain, right now we're at the top, and you can feel the cool air. You're not going to feel the pressure. Inshallah, it's going to be smooth sailing from here. And these particles, the good news is, it's not like there's a separate set of particles for the Masjid fihi, right? These set of particles, they affect in the same way all the verbs, whether it's mujarrad, whether it's Masjid fihi, whether it's group 4, group 2, group 3, group 6, group 7, group 10, does not matter. All the verbs are affected in the same manner. The rules are the same. Okay, so let's look at them really quickly. First, we're going to look at the jussive particles, and in Arabic, they're called al-huruf al-jawazim. Okay, al-huruf al-jawazim. Jussive particle meaning what? They make the mudari majzoom. Like, I'll give you an example. Say, for example, you have, this is the default look of the mudari, right? You can see it, yaf'alu. Okay, this is the default look, yaf'alu. And then let me take the next one also, yaf'alani. All right, so I am going to take one of the particles of jussive. You see over here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth one, actually, we're not going to do it. I just put it there. Inshallah, when we cover sentences, that's when you're going to understand this better. So today, I will not talk much about in. Okay? All right, so we're just going to talk about li, la, lam, lamma. And what I'm going to explain here is the same for each one of them. Okay? So say, for example, I'm going to take li. Okay, if I bring li over here, all right, li, and this affects mudari. So affects mudari meaning what? The default state is going to change, right? So the way this default state is going to change, because this is a particle of jazm. That should be self-explanatory, right? Particle of jazm. Particle of jazm makes the mudari majzoom. Particle of jar makes the noun majroor. Particle of noun makes particle of nasab makes the noun mansoob. So here, particle of jazm, right? Particle of jazm makes the verb majzoom, all right? So dhamma is replaced and you have a jazm there. That's all. That's basically what the particle of jazm does. Okay, li yaf'al, and then whatever the meaning of li is, I'll get to it in a little bit. All right, same thing. I'm gonna apply the li over here. Okay, how am I gonna make this jazm? It's the dual, right? So the way you make the dual and the plural jazm is by getting rid of the noon, except the feminine noon. You're not gonna touch that. We've learned that from even when we were doing the command verbs, right? We don't touch the feminine noon. But we saw when we were constructing command verbs, this is pretty much it. This is basically what we were doing, right? So li, the meaning of li is should, all right? So if I want to translate this one, yaf'alu means to do, all right? To do. If I lift the veil from yaf'alu, who is sitting underneath? What's the pronoun that's sitting underneath? Huwa. So he should do. Kada wa kada. Okay? Then we have li yaf'ala. They both should do. It's called lam of amr. Alright, there are so many li's in the Quran, but the li that comes with mudari', okay, one of the li's that come with mudari', it is the lam of amr. By context, you will understand, because there's another li that comes with mudari'. We'll see that in a little bit, okay? But the li that comes with mudari', alright, the context will give it away. Right now, what we are learning is in the meaning of he should do something, okay? For example, if I say yaqra'u, alright, and I bring li there, so it will become li yaqra'. The hamza will carry a sakin. Let me write it over here, okay? So if you have here, yaqra'u, okay? And if I bring li, it will be what? He should read, okay? He should read. Now, for example, if I have yahfazu, all right, yahfazu, and if I bring li, right, what this will affect, and it make it jazm, all right, this is mudari' majzoom now, and the meaning will be he should memorize. Without the li, yahfazu, okay, yahfazu. Without the li, he memorizes. This is he memorizes, right? And this one is he should memorize. Sort of like a command, a directive, okay? He should memorize. You should do it. Li tahfaz. Li tahfaz. She should memorize. Li tahfazi. You should memorize. Female, right? When you apply it to tahfazina. So that's basically how it works. You just have to memorize the meaning of li. So same thing. Now, if I look at the other particles, okay? I'm going to go over the entire chart in a little bit. But for now, let me just go over all the particles and then we'll go over the chart, okay? So the first is li. So this is the lam of amr, meaning you should do something, all right? Then there is lam or la of nahi, okay? Which is basically command in the negative. And there are some exercises that we will do from the Quran to show you that in a little bit, okay? So for example, if I say, if there is la, right? If I say kharaja yakhruju, okay? So I'm gonna write yakhruju, okay? And if I bring la over here, this is the lam or la of nahi, all right? It's not lam, it's la of nahi, all right? La yakhruj. He should not exit, okay? Or say yajlisu, yajlisu, right? If I bring the la, right? It will become la yajlis. He should not sit. So it's basically the command given in the negative. All right. Next, we have the next particle, which is the third particle, and that is lam. Simple. So I'm just gonna substitute lam. Okay. La with lam over here. So I'm gonna put lam. All right, and lam over here. Effect is the same. Okay. The effect does not change. You see, they all make them majzoom, and if they have the noon endings, then you're going to drop the noon, all right? You're going to translate the same way. You're going to figure out what the meaning of the root is. You're going to lift the veil. You're going to see who the pronoun is, and then with the particle, you're going to put the translation together, okay? So that's as easy as it is. All right, so then we have lam. Lam, the meaning of lam is did not, okay? So here, the mudari', actually, the meaning of mudari' now is transferred to past tense with lam. And you will see lam in so many places in the Quran, okay? One of them is really obvious, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Lam, so it was yakhruju, lam yakhruj. He did not exit. Lam yakhruj, he did not exit. Lam yajlis, he did not sit. Lam yakul, he did not eat. Lam yahfaz, he did not memorize, right? Lam yadrib, he did not hit. So, lam darasa yadrusu. Lam yadrus, he did not study. Nasara yansuru. Lam yansur, he did not help, right? So this is basically how you apply the meaning with the root and you translate. The last one that we're going to do, like I said, we're not going to talk about in right now, is lamma. Okay, so lamma, one lamma we know that comes with noun, and that is translated as when. Okay, this lamma, it will be obvious because you're going to see a verb right in front of it, right? So when you have lamma, and it's very rare in the Quran, I think 2-3 places, that's it, if I remember correctly. Lamma, when it comes in the Quran with a verb, lamma means not yet or still did not. Okay, so say for example, lamma darasa yadrusu, okay, lamma yadrus, he still did not study, okay, or lamma yaqra, he still did not read, okay, or yakhruju, lamma yakhruj, he still did not leave. All right, so ya'kulu, if I bring lamma, he still did not eat. Okay, and then we have the other one is let's take something from Masjid fihi. Okay, aslama yuslimu, same thing. Lamma yuslim, he still did not submit. Okay, so that's basically how you see these particles apply, whether it's mujarrad or mazid fihi. The reason I'm not bringing too much of mujarrad in, because this is the first time you're getting introduced to it, so I want your brains to settle. Inshallah, if you get the application, the effect that the particles have on the verbs, right, everything else will be easy from there on. Like it'll be a no-brainer for you to figure out, and you already know which one is mujarrad and which one is mazid fi. With all the work that I am seeing, I see that, you know, everybody has that under control. Okay, so it's just you getting familiar with the particles at this time. I'm not so much focusing on the application bit today. All right, so that's why I'm just keeping everything mujarrad mostly. Here and there I've thrown in a few mazid fihi. You will see when we do the exercise, but otherwise right now today I just want you to focus on the particles, how they affect the mudari verb, and the meaning of the particles, and how it how you take the meaning of the particle and then the meaning of the root and then translate together. That's basically what I want you to focus on today. Okay, so we did lam, we did li, which is the lam of amr, which means should do something. All right, like li ya'kul, he should eat. All right, and then we have the la of nahi, la ya'kul, he should not eat. And then we have lam ya'kul, he did not eat. And then we have lamma ya'kul, he still did not eat. All right, so these are the 4 applications of the 4 different particles. Now quickly we're going to look at the chart. The way these particles, whatever I explained it to you, it's all written over here. The particle, it affects all the singular looking, okay, the ones that that are singular and have the look of the singular. Like you have the naf'alu, and in the first person it's highlighted in green on the chart right here. So all this, right, all this, when they're affected, so we use the la of nahi over here, when they're affected by the la of nahi or any particle of jazm, right, then the ending becomes jazm. All right, here, so this entire column, and then the last row, it becomes all jazm. And for the others, what happens is, so there was all noons over here, right, here there were noons, all of them got dropped, all the noons got dropped. Okay, that's basically, except for the feminine, I left it in red. That's basically how they affect it. And you lift the veil and you go ahead and you translate. For example, if I want to translate this one, la taf'ali, la taf'ali. If I lift the veil, who's sitting underneath? Anti, right? So you female, yani, and fa'ala means what? To do. You should not do. Okay? This one, you both should not do. they all should not do. And then we have la naf'al, we should not do. So it's you figuring out what the pronoun is, what the meaning of the root is, what the meaning of the particle is, and you have it there. Okay, all right, so this is how we do the majzoom verbs. Okay, there's a term for them that we use in English. We say that this verb has now become light. It does not have its default look. So when the default look changes, either the noon is dropping or the dhamma is dropped, and then there is a jazm there, then the verb is said to be light. Okay, that's a term that people use while teaching, so I'm just putting it out there just in case you come across and you wonder like, okay, what was that? We never heard of that, but that term is sometimes used. Okay, so that's your jussive. Okay, now next we come to the accusative particles, the particles of nasab, and again that's self-explanatory, right? Particles of nasab means what? In nouns we had the particle of nasab where we saw that you have al-muslimu becoming al-muslima because of inna al-muslima, right? So inna is the particle of nasab. It made the nouns ending fatha, right? Similarly, in the case of verbs, all right, the jussive particles gave it a jazm ending. In the case of verbs, the accusative particle, the particle of nasab is going to give it a fatha, is going to give it a nasab in the singular. Okay, and wherever there are noons, the noons are going to be dropped, like just we did with the jussive. There's no difference there. Okay, so how will you figure out whether this is jussive or accusative when it comes to the duals and the plurals? Well, number one, the particles are different, okay, and then there is one or two that are same, they look the same. In that case, context will tell you whether you're going to use the particle, whether it's the particle of jazm or the particle of nasab. Okay, so inshallah, let's quickly look at the particles of nasab. So you have over here li. So we just did li in jazm, right? Like I told you, some are similar. Li in jazm meant should do something, okay? But li as an accusative particle means so that, okay? So for example, li yaf'ala. This is basically if li yaf'ala. So it was yaf'alu, okay? It was yaf'alu. When li as an accusative particle comes along, it makes it fatha, okay? The entire column, first column, will become al fatha. If you look at this here, see? Look at the chart over here. This entire, so I've used un for the chart, okay? Un also means so that. So here, this entire will become fatha at the end, and everything else, noon drops, okay? Noon drops here. Same thing, no difference, okay? Just the meaning will be different. And of course, the feminine noon remains the same. So there's really nothing new here, except for the fact that when it is jussive, it's a jazm for the singular scales or the singular looking scales, and then it is a fatha for when it is accusative, all right? When it's the particle of nawasib. That's as simple as it is. Okay, so then where was I? Here, yaf'alu, li yaf'ala, so that he does. Okay, I hired him, right? Liyaf'ala, so that he does, or say does kaza wa kaza. Or say for example, let's go with qara'a yaqra'u. Okay, yaqra'u. All right, and then I bought him books so that he reads. How am I going to say so that he reads? Li yaqra'a. All right, so that he reads. And then I put him in a hifz school, or I put her in a hifz school, right? So that she memorizes. She memorizes, right? So hafiza yahfazu tahfazu. Okay, tahfazu li tahfazu. So that she memorizes. That's basically, so like I said, for today what I want you to do is just learn the meanings of the particles and how they affect the verbs, and which is very simple. It's just the meaning really that you have to learn. Okay, so li is so that, and then an is also so that. Okay, so you can just replace the li with an over here. So you know, yaqra'u, ay yaqra'a, nahfadhu, an nahfadha, like so that we memorize. Contextually, you will see what the difference is, all right? Right now, we're seeing them all, we're seeing the word by itself, or we're seeing the phrase by itself. But inshallah, you know, when we do the exercises, then you're going to see them, you're going to understand the difference between li and an, inshallah. Lan, Lan is used as an accusative particle with mudari' verbs, and it means will never. So lan yaqra'a, he will never, okay, yaqra al-kitab, he will never read the book. Or say for example, he will never eat, right? Lan ya'kula at-ta'ama, he will never eat the food. All right, or say for example, he will never drink, right? Lan yashraba, he will never drink the juice. Okay, so that's basically how the meaning of lan applies. And then we have likay. Also the meaning is so that, so it's the same thing as we had with li and an. You just substitute it with likay and you will see the meaning there. And then fa means so that. All right, so you see so many so that's over here, but inshallah you will see the difference. Okay, and then we have hatta. So hatta we learned with nouns also. Hatta matla'il fajri, hatta is harf jar, and hatta also comes as a particle of nasab with nouns, and it means until. Okay, so inshallah you will see the application now with few Quranic verses in order to wrap up the class today. But that's basically all it is about the particles of verbs, the basic particles of verbs. There are few other applications. I'm not going to go into it right now, but and just go ahead and practice these. So you have the particles of jazm, which are called al-huruf al-jawazim, and then you have the particles of nasab, which are called al-huruf al-nawasib. Okay, jazm makes it jazm, nasab makes it nasab. All right, in all the singulars and the singular looking for the jazm, they carry a jazm at the end, and for the duals and the plurals, except for the feminine, all the noons are dropped. For the accusative, you have the singular and the singular looking scales. They have the fatha at the end, and the duals and the plurals, all of them, the noon is dropped except for the feminine plural. All right, so that's basically how these particles apply. Learn the meaning. Before we conclude the class, inshallah, quickly, let's go ahead and you look, I've already gone over the chart here. Quickly, let's do some ayahs from the Quran to show you the particles with these verbs. Okay, with these particles with the verbs, inshallah. So the first one is from Surah Hujurat, and you see, Qul lam tu'minu. Okay, lam tu'minu. So it was what? It was tu'minuna. Right? It was tu'minuna. The noon has been dropped because of what? Lam. Okay, and a'mana yu'minu means what? To believe. You did not believe. That's basically what the translation for this one is. And then we have, look at this one. وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلِل. So we know that mudari' does not have a kasra. This kasra is only for tajweed purposes, but it is actually a dhamma here. Okay. So وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلِ الْإِيمَانُ. Iman has not yet entered. Iman still did not enter. That's the meaning of lamma, right? Still did not yet. That's the meaning of lamma. Okay. وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلِ الْإِيمَانُ. So next, let's go with وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا. Rakana, yarkanu, and this is tarkanuna. So the noon is there, right? The noon has been dropped because this is the la of nahi. So do not, command in the negative. Do not lean for support towards the one who do wrong. All right, tarkanu. And then we have الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء وأنزل من السماء ماء فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم فلا, look at this one, فلا تجعلوا, right? فلا تجعلوا. So it was تجعلون. Do not associate partners. Do not make تجعلوا لله, partners is here. Okay. Do not make for Allah, lillahi jar majroor, partners. Do not make for Allah partners. Do not associate partners with Allah. So this was actually taj'aluna. Okay, because of la drop. So this is command in the negative. Then we have this one. Wala talhiqu ru'usakum. Talhiqu. Halaqa. Halaqa. Yahliqu tahliqu, all right, to shave. All right, wala tahliqu. So this one again had the noon, right? Do not, it's a command. Do not shave your heads. Okay. Hatta, see, look at this one. Hatta yablugha. It was yablughu, became yablugha. Until the sacrificial animal reaches its place, right? So this one and this one. This is a particle of jazm. Okay. This is particle of jazm and this is particle of nasab in the same ayah. Okay, and then we have the last one, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la taqrabu. How common is this ayah? La taqrabu. Do not go close. Qaraba yaqrabu. So it was taqrabuna. Plural. If you lift the veil, who's sitting underneath there? Antum. La taqrabuna. So la, right? Effects on the mudari, drops the noon. La taqrabu salata. Do not go close to salah, or do not stand in salah. Wa antum sukara. While you are intoxicated. Hatta. Okay? Hatta ta'lamu. It was what? Ta'lamuna. It was ta'lamuna. Hatta came, knocked out the noon. Alright? Knocked out the noon and made it ta'lamun. The waw is just to indicate to you that it's actually a plural. Otherwise it does not mean anything else. Okay, until you know what you're saying. Okay, hatta, until you know what you're saying. So this one is particle of jazm, and this one is particle of nasab. Alright, so I hope this makes it clear. Like I said, it's very easy. You just have to memorize the meanings of the particles, and that's it. And then we just apply. And the application is the same for the mazid fihi verbs and the mujarrad verbs. And so, inshallah, in the next class, I will start bringing sentences more. I know we were doing Surah Ra'd, but because now we are moving into sentences, I cannot stick to one surah. Alright, so I have to bring different examples. So I'm going to do ayahs from different places of the Quran in order to make sure that you get you get exposed to different applications, different examples based on everything that you have learned so far. So inshallah, we'll be starting sentences once we come back next week. So until then, keep practicing, keep reviewing, and if you have any questions, please post them or send an email to me, inshallah, and I will get back to you at my earliest convenience. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين.